The following podcast is provided by Era Living, innovator in residential retirement options since 1987. And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are here with a wonderful individual that I have known for a long time, Tina Hall from Era Living in Seattle. And for those of you that may have a senior loved one in Seattle, I strongly encourage you, if you are thinking about taking a step into senior living or just wanting to know what it's all about, please reach out to Era Living. It's eraliving.com. They are an amazing organization, and I am so honored and privileged to kind of feel like an extended member of the team now. So it's really pretty fun. So Tina, you and I have been talking in our first segment about, just having that conversation with yourself and deciding what it is that you want, and going through those scenarios of, okay, if I'm in a situation where I need care and I can't take care of my house anymore, what do I need to know and what do I need to do? Once you've made those decisions, the next question would be, obviously, is to have those conversations with your family. Is that correct?
I would say so. It makes it a lot easier if you get everybody on the same page. I think it's challenging when you have family, whether it's, your adult daughter or whoever, that is reluctant for you to make any steps forward because they're afraid of what it means. I think we're all afraid of our parents losing their health. We're afraid of losing our childhood home. But the truth is, once you've made a decision to move forward, getting your family to talk about it and to understand the benefits to you and how important your future is, that really, really matters. And it's often going to be several conversations. It's whether you are the adult child having a conversation with your parent and opening up the conversation, or whether you are the individual and you're talking to your adult children about it.
Sure.
You can initially meet a little bit of resistance because there's a lot of fear. Change can be scary. So anticipate it being a few conversations and just go gentle, knowing it is okay that everybody is not initially on the same page. You can get there.
Well, and I think
you.
Yeah. And I think too, Tina, what you're saying, which is really important, is the fact that be gentle. And part of that is, I strongly encourage people, don't spring the conversation if you're an adult child and say, Mom and Dad, we're here and we want to talk to you about something. It's like, give them an opportunity to kind of marinate on the idea before you have that conversation. Because bottom line is, and I will tell you that I tell every family this, nobody moves to a senior living community that is not their decision, right?
True.
If you're going to make that change, it's because you chose to go there. Unless you're beyond anything and you can't take care of yourself, obviously that would be one thing. But the point of the matter being is that I do believe, number two, that every family member wants what's the best for their loved one. I don't think that there's anybody out there that says, I just want mom to rot in home and I don't care, right?
I hope not.
that is not what happens, right?
But
the point the matter being is everyone has an idea of what that looks like. And so that, I think, in my mind, is what causes conflict, is when that loved one did not make the plan. If mom or dad did not make the plan and saying, this is our desire and this is what we want to do. Now the conversation is, how are we going to accomplish it? How are we going to execute it? Because there isn't the argument anymore. And I think that is one of the keys. What would you say, Tina?
I would say, initially, I think oftentimes people think, I don't ever want to do that. I don't ever want to do that. But oftentimes it really is because they have no idea what it is.
Right.
They don't have any familiarity with all the different options available to them. And so there's this huge fear of moving somewhere and suddenly being obsolete, or having no choices in your life, or having to go here and do whatever people tell you to do. And that is not what senior living is all about. But until people can start doing a little bit of research and just opening that conversation and talking about the possibility of what it could be, what they want it to be, and then start looking for that, there's going to be that wall. So
Yeah.
if you individually are thinking, well, this might be something I want to do in my future, start looking, start
Mhm.
reading, start
Yes.
educating yourself,
And
and you
take a tour.
take more than one tour and have meals at
Have
these
a
communities.
meal, you
Definitely.
know,
Talk to
there's
residents
no
that live.
obligation. And the thing that I think is really important is to be upfront with those that you're there saying, I'm in the early research
Yes.
phase. I am not in a situation where I'm going to be moving this month, right? I may not even move this year. I may not even move for 3 years.
Well, and the
I just
places,
need to know what's out there,
yes,
what the lifestyle's like, how much is this going to cost me? Is financially, how does this work within my care plan? Can you provide care based on
Mhm.
maybe I have a mobility challenge or something like that? Those are questions that you will help you determine,
yes,
as our listener, what is the right option for you and your loved one. And that's the other side. There's a whole aspect of a spouse. If you and your spouse are, together, are you going to make the decision of, number one, you're going to both stay together, and if one of you gets sick and cannot take care of themselves, you're going to have to bring care into your home. What does that look like? How much does that cost? Or are you going to stay together and move to a community where your loved one can be on an assisted living type of care, and that's called a flexible license, that the senior living community can provide different levels of care to the same
right,
apartment
right.
dwelling. And that, I think that's important.
And
Yeah.
with flexible licensing, and I know that there are a number of communities that do it, it's an important
Mhm.
question to ask when you are touring, especially if you are moving in with a spouse and you are a
Right.
but your spouse needs care. You don't want to feel like they have to live in the assisted living building and you have to live in the independent living building.
Mhm.
When a community has flexible licensing and you
Sure.
move in independently, they simply apply an assisted living license to the apartment you're already living in so that you don't have to move to a different section of the building to have care. And you don't both have to have assisted living needs to live together in a community that does offer flexible licensing like that. But it's
Mhm.
important to ask that because, believe it or not everybody does it. I don't know why, but it's a good question to ask among
Yeah.
many other questions which we can talk about.
Absolutely. And, to think about these things as far as what can happen with you and your spouse, remember, people are living longer today than they ever have before. You know, I'm seeing all the time seniors in their 90s that we never used to see before, not in my mother's generation, rarely. And it's fascinating to see how vibrant so many 90-year-old people are. They are living, longer. And so we have to look at those options. What is going to happen if I outlive my money? And Tina, you and I are going to talk about this in our next segment. Look, let's say your life is longer than how much money you have.
Right.
We're going to come back and talk a little bit about that. And also we're going to finish out with what kind of questions should you be asking your community? And Tina and I will be right back right after this. Era Living is locally owned and operates 8 premier retirement communities in Seattle, Renton, Mercer Island, Bellevue, and Issaquah. From vibrant, independent living to compassionate assisted living to secure memory care, Era Living respects and honors older adults by enhancing the quality of their lives. Learn more at eraliving.com.